Can you guess what we're making? Do you recognize these rectangles? Probably one of my favorite quilts in the last year, the potato chip block, but not just any. We are going to make a wonderful, fabulous potato chip block. And look at this. You're going to be amazed at how simple the pattern is. That's all we have to do, and we put 4 together. But you see, I have 3 different sizes. We've got large, medium, and small, right? So we have a large one. We have a medium one. Oh my gosh, it's hard to choose, but I think this is my favorite. These blocks measure 4 inches. Oh my, I can't wait to share this with you. So let's go ahead and get started. There is so much to do here. Believe me when I say I know how hard it is to sort through all these fabric pieces and think about what am I going to do and how do I sort it and what's what and where am I going to use this, and here's a piece I can use that I missed on the first go around. See, I'm finding more, but this is where you start. You get into your pile and you pull anything smaller than 5 inches, because if it's 5 inches you can get a whole bunch of charm squares, and there's so much you can do with this that's fast. So we want to hang on to anything 5 inches or larger. So we're going with the small pieces, and we are going to create some rectangles in 3 different sizes because we are going to have options. We're going to create the same block but in 3 different sizes, and that way we can see not only what we like best, but we can use all our fabrics and we can decide what we want to put in our row by row quilt along. Oh my goodness, so many options. Now, I've been working on this for a while, and I counted this pile, and when I was about here, I think there were 50 pieces. So there's maybe 75 to 80. These are probably pretty close to 100. But what I want to show you is how we're going to decide what to cut, what size to cut, and how to organize all this. With a pile of strips, I just sort of move them around and according to their dimensions. And the common size that I'm dealing with are the 1.5, the 2, the 3.5, and then also the 4.5. So I start at the biggest with a piece that I pull out. Like this is 3 by, what is that, 6.5 it looks like. So that was probably from my big potato chip block that I did. And so I'm going to cut this down into smaller pieces. I could go 2.5 by 4.5, but I'm going to show you some other ones that will, I think, work out better for this size. And that's what you need to decide on. Which size rectangles do you prefer, or do you want a bunch of all of them? And by making one block with each, then you're going to get a feel for it. So if you're just starting and you've not done this before and you're not sure what you think about working with these sizes, then I'm going to recommend you make one block, and you're going to need about 32 of each of these for each block. Now, the pattern that I'm using, that I've decided to put these in, will be a light and dark, so there'll be contrast. So you can see I have lots of darks and I have some lights over here waiting to be cut. And so let's start with this. The first thing, we have some 2-inch strips, and we're making this strip right here. And this is 2 by 3.5. So I'm going to line this up. Now this had an angle, so I'm just going to trim this edge off, and I'm keeping my triangles. And if I can get any like 2.5-inch squares or something like that, I'm keeping that as well. So we have 2 by 3.5. And I'm just going to put my nifty little ruler right here. Now, this is not big enough for, oh yes it is, look at that. No, it's not, it's too short. I'm going to put this in the other pile. And if you remember the mug rugs that I made with the piano key border, where I took a narrow strip of fabric like this and I just sewed a string of these side by side, I'll show you that here afterwards. That's perfect for these pieces over here. So I have my, let's see, right here, 3.5. I thought I cut this. Did I not cut this? I guess it was just the other side. And as I cut them, I just put them in the pile. Now, oh, look at that. Oh my goodness, perfect. 3.5, just what I need. And what did this measure? This is 2. Oh, that's right. Because the 1.5, I need it to be by 2.5. So this is going to go over here. And I'm just going to put that in there too because it's sort of an oddball one. And this is 2.5. Can I get a 3? Yes, I can get a 3.5 out of this. So I need a 2 by 3.5. Now, you can go through and group these by sizes so that you can stack them and cut a bunch of them at once, which is obviously more practical and a better use of your time. This one is only going to be 1.5, so these are the narrow pieces. And these are looking pretty scant. I don't think I have anything here that's, oh, there's a 3.5 right there. So I can go 2 by 3.5. And then when I get down to this, I'm throwing this away. So that gives you an idea of just how I work with some of the narrow strips. Now, this block here measures 1.5 by 2.5. Teeny tiny. It's going to be a 1 by 2 rectangle. So this here is 3 inches wide. And I need it to be 1.5 by 2.5. So I'm going to cut this in half the long way. Actually, let's do it that way. I think that might be a good way to see how this works. So I'm going to put this at 1.5. And let's see, right there. And make sure I've got 1.5 on that side. I'm going to stack them on top of each other. And now I'm going to cut this 1.5 by 2.5. And for me, it's just easier to turn my ruler because these are my pre-cut sets that I use. And because the pre-cut sizes have become so common, this is really handy. And then when I get squares, I put it in my square pile. So I have a triangle pile and a square pile. Now, the other thing that works out really well are jelly rolls. So I'm going to take a stack of them, and these are the ones I just did with the borders. 1, 2, 3. And that's I can put over there. We've got pieces of everything. I just want to get 1 or 2 of each of these. And some of the different fabrics in here. And is this one cut? No, I'm going to cut that one off. Okay, and I'm going to put that on the bottom because I'm probably going to need to trim it. I did not cut it with a ruler, and it's going to be a bit messy. Okay, so these are 2.5 inch wide. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is cut some 4.5 inch squares, or excuse me, rectangles. So I'm going to, we've got 2.5, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4.5 right here. And so these are going to be my larger size, and I'll put that in that pile. Now these down here are 2.5 by 1.5. So I have my 2.5, and then I'm going to cut this by 1.5. And this is how I can get all the different sizes and spread the fabric out so I don't end up with everything in one pile and the other pile looking a little sparse. Now you may remember the 6.5 by 3.5 inch rectangles that I used in the square in a square potato chip block quilt. You know, it was all basically one big square with the rectangles. And I don't know if I'm going to use the gold because I think I need the white background. So I'm going to set that aside until I see where I'm going. So this is 3.5 by 6.5. Now, I could get 2.5 by 4.5. And if I did a 4.5, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, that leaves me 2 inches, and I need 3.5 inches. Oh my gosh, this is going to work out perfect. I hadn't done this yet. This is a new one, so I am excited. Let's do this again. So I'm going to cut this at 2.5 by 4.5, but first I need to trim this at 4.5 inches. So I'm going to put this right at 4.5 and make sure I line everything up. Now this measures 2 by 3.5, and that's going to go right there. Oh, how awesome is that? Now what am I going to do with this one? I have 4.5 inches, and I'm going to cut it at 2.5 inches and put that over here on my larger pile. And then this is going to go in my piano strip. So you can see how as you're pulling these through, there are going to be a lot of different options. Like these are 3 inches. And I will probably just cut them down to 2.5 because I'm not going to need too many 3-inch pieces. But this looks like it's 3.5, and I can definitely use this. What size? There we are, 3.5. So I can use this one and cut a bunch of 2-inch out of this. And I'm just going to line this up. So this is all I'm doing. And I want you to see that when you get a piece, work from the biggest pieces down. And see, I did say 2 by 3.5, right? Yes. Oh my gosh. I had to write this down in a list because there's a lot of different numbers here. They're all a 2-to-1 ratio, which should help. But, okay, so we're just going to do that. All right, so this is where we are. I'm going to now take these and start assembling some blocks. That's what I want to show you. But look at all this. Oh, my goodness. These are some wonderful pieces that we're going to be able to work with. We're going to use up jelly rolls. We're going to use up all these strips. And then I have my low volume fabric here that I can use for the backgrounds that I need. Plus I had 2 fat quarters from the Christmas fabric. So I'm pulling everything I have, and we are going to make some awesome blocks. What is not to love about a potato chip block? It is so simple and easy, and we are using the absolute basic for this. I'm going to show you how this goes together. So we are going to take our background fabric, our, what do I want to say, low volume or light fabric, whatever the case may be. And we're going to sew these two together. Now, I'm doing this in 2 colors, basically red and green for the holidays. So I'm alternating throughout as I'm making my blocks with those colors. So I'm going to sew these together with a 1/4 inch seam and press the seam down. And then I'm going to add these to each side. So I'm going to be continuing with my, let's see, with my low volume. I need to get my, and some of these can be red or green, and that's going to work out fine. So I'm going to put that up there, and I'm just going through what I have here. Here's a green one, and here's a red one. And you see, and that's it. That's the block. So you sew these on, press them outward. You sew these together, press them or sew them on and press them outward, and this is what you have. And look at, these are wonderful. But check out how this works. Let me get these out of the way, because you're just going to be amazed at how easy and simple this is. Okay, so we're going to put our pieces, now remember, we can't put them side by side. We need to make sure we rotate. So each block is going to rotate 1/4 turn. And right here. Now, if I wanted a green one there, I could flip this around. So that's kind of the fun of this too, is how you can move these. I probably don't want those two together, so I'm going to put this here like that. And then maybe I want to put this green one up here and the red one here. So there's a lot that you can do to play with this to get it just where you want to balance out the colors. I think this is an incredible block. For the simplicity of this basic single round potato chip block, and then to put 4 together, and I just want to show you a couple here. This one. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's just such fun. And then, you know, just the single block like this is all it takes. But remember, we're working on this in 3 sizes. So I'm going to pull this aside. This is the big one. All right, that's the big block. And this is 8, I think. Let's see, 5. Yeah, so this measures 8.5 inches. The next size, which is where we used, whoops, I've got, look at that. There it is. Isn't it wonderful? where we use the 2 by 3.5. So we have a 2 by 3.5 inch block in here, a rectangle. And look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Oh my goodness. And as busy as these lighter background fabrics are, we definitely get that pattern, you know, the contrast between them. So this is the medium, and then wait till you see this one. This one is made by 1.5 to 2.5 pieces like this. They're really quite small, but it goes together so easy. And look at this. And you know what I'm excited about? Let me get my blocks back together here. I'm going to go back to the big one. Is the way this goes together is we're then going to come in, and I'm going to put this on this side. Let's see. We're going to put this here, and I just want to show you how this particular pattern will work its way across. Okay, so I've got that. All right, I have to pay attention so I see what I'm doing. And I didn't even realize, look, we're going to get this little alternate pattern here in between with the cross with the lights. So we get the big cross with the colors and then the little cross with the lights. And, you know, as a quilt, this would be fantastic. But I'm thinking as a table runner, oh my goodness, I love this. But I think what I'm going to do, because this is just so wonderful, is use this little one. Is this the tiny one? I think it is. Yeah, because the other one's this size. There we are. So these measured 6.5 and these measure 4.5. And I think it is absolutely adorable. Let me bring you in just a bit here. Look at that. Oh my goodness, it's just so precious. And imagine a string of these across. I can see where we can use this in the row by row quilt. So what my plan is we're going to make some different blocks that we can add on and create a row for whatever size we want. I'm thinking right now we're looking at anywhere from 40 to 48 inches. It's going to depend on how all these work. And you know I'm doing it right along with you, so don't be asking me too many technical questions because I won't know until we get there. But I love this, and I hope you do too. I have a tutorial that shows this layout and will give you directions on how to make this block. It'll also include the different sizes that I used. So make sure you check down in the description and get that all downloaded. I'm also going to include a little booklet of 33 patterns, and that'll be down below too. Many of you may have already gotten that earlier this summer when we were first releasing it, but oh, you're going to love it. There's so many options. Okay, there we are. So I think we're there. How simple was this? I love the fact that these colors all just go well together. Like I said, they're from 3 different years worth of fabric, and they look great. I think it's fantastic. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're ready to make your own. And I certainly hope that you're going to participate in the quiltathon. Excuse me, the quiltathon. Listen to me, quilt along. I think it's going to be great fun. Look at all these blocks. Okay, fun stuff. You all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for being here, and I look forward to doing more quilting with you soon.